Hey, Graham, how are you?
Hey Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. Yourself?
Doing great, doing great. So today we're talking, of course, Night Fight premiering on the History Channel Wednesday, January 23rd, 10 p.m. Eastern, immediately following Vikings. So my first question for you,
Right.
how did the opportunity to host Night Fight come about?
Yeah, so my agent has a relationship with Matador Content, who produced the show along with History, and I told him in previous conversations that I was interested in doing some hosting, and obviously outside of the wrestling walls type thing, and this opportunity came up, and he thought that I would be perfect for it, and showed them some footage of mine, and they kind of said that's our guy. So that's kind of how it came about.
And of course, Adam, better known to WWE fans as Edge, also on the History Channel as part of Vikings. Did he share any tips or thoughts with you about your new endeavor?
No, he thought it was a great opportunity. Obviously, it's funny how it worked out that we're we're always seemingly linked together somehow. Which we've been best friends since sixth grade. So it's funny how it turned out that way. But it's kind of neat that he's on Vikings, which is the lead-in show for Night Fight, and it's kind of cool. Yeah, get 2 full hours of Edge and Christian, so that's pretty good, I think.
At the same time, too, you do have plenty of television work in your accolades. I mean, plenty of stuff that you've done in the past, from appearing on Haven, also with Edge, as you had mentioned from a couple of years ago. House, which I didn't even realize. I'm the biggest House fan. I'm the biggest Christian fan in the world. Did not even know you appeared on an episode of House until I read about it a couple of days ago, which is pretty crazy. But my question for you was, how has hosting kind of differed from acting for you so far?
Yeah, so the hosting is more, you're basically yourself, right? So that's really is the difference. With acting, you're portraying a character, much like I did in WWE with the character of Christian. I was playing the character, whereas when you're hosting, you're yourself, and you're trying to kind of paint the picture of what's going on as far as the show goes, and you're trying to let the audience in on what the competitors are all about, what their personalities are like, and the action that they're seeing. And as well, I did some judging as well. I judge along with 2 other guys, Andre Sanu, who was the founding member of the Armored Combat League, where a lot of these competitors come out of, and the other guy was John Clements, who's a world-renowned instructor of medieval and Renaissance fighting arts. He's an expert in that field. So kind of sitting with them, I felt like I was kind of a conduit from the perspective of the audience, asking questions of these 2 experts, maybe that the audience might have as well. So I kind of felt like that was kind of my role as well.
Was there any famous, television hosts you tried to model yourself after in hosting Night Fight, or did you just try to wing it as you went along?
Well, I tried to have the same hair as Ryan Seacrest, but I'm not sure it worked out that way.
Oh,
no, I don't know. I'm not really sure. I just tried to be myself. I actually never even really thought about, obviously, I've done a couple hosting things on the WWE Network where I hosted a couple specials and things like that, and also with the Edge and Christian show, we did monologues and things like that. So I just tried to be myself. That was all I tried to do.
Did you try to do any research for the role to get a better understanding of the night culture ahead of hosting the show?
Of course, yeah. I was sent a lot of footage, and of course I did some research on my own. I didn't really know a lot about it. I'd heard about it when the opportunity came up. It's been known in some circles as sort of medieval MMA or night fight club. So, yeah, and got a real appreciation for it when I started to watch it, but nothing like the appreciation that I got when I got there and I saw it all happening in front of me. The passion that these knights have for what it is that they're doing and how much they care about it, and how much winning this competition means to them. And obviously, it's sort of an underground sport, and this is probably the biggest platform that these guys have ever had to show the world what they do. So they're trying to take full advantage of that as well. So, yeah, I definitely did my research and was caught up, and of course I learned a lot as we went along during the season as well.
And you mentioned earlier how closely linked both you and Adam have been over the course of your careers, both in WWE and in the television world. Any chance we see a crossover between you guys on Vikings and Night Fight at some point down the road on the History Channel?
You never know. I don't know. It'd be maybe fun if he showed up in his Viking gear and I borrowed somebody's armor. A little something could be funny.
How much of the physical nature of Night Fight kind of reminds you of your time in WWE?
Yeah, I think just obviously the action, the physicality. You know, it's really physical, really aggressive. And I think the thing that reminded me most of my time in WWE, and I even could trace it back to before I got to WWE when I was first starting out in independent wrestling, and I was wrestling for, $20, $25, $30 a night. And I was, driving all over, Canada and the U.S. to try to get some experience and get out there and do what I do. And I had a real passion for it, and, would have done it for free. That's how much I loved it. And these guys remind me a lot of that they take pride in what they do. They care about what they do. And they travel not just in the U.S., but all over the world. And, a lot of these guys have, they all have regular jobs, and this is the thing they do because they have a passion for it. So a lot of that reminded me of it, just the passion and how much they cared about it, and they took pride in what they were doing. But, yeah, the physicality for sure. It's just nonstop action for the entire hour. And another cool thing is, with a lot of the interviews that we do with the nights, you get a real sense of their personalities, and of course, there's all different personalities. And that's the cool thing too. I think that the viewer will find themselves, liking certain guys and maybe not liking certain guys so much, and because of that, they'll be like, man, I really hope this guy wins, or man, I really hope this guy loses. And that's kind of the same thing that you have in wrestling. Somebody that you cheer for and somebody that you boo. And I think that you'll very much find that with this show as well.
And in hosting a show with such, intensity, aggression, action, a lot of similarities to WWE, does watching and kind of watching from the sidelines make you appreciate the fact you've been retired now for the better part of the past 5 years? Does it make you miss it a bit, or is it a bit of both?
Well, I'm 45, so when I see people getting hit, I kind of cringe. Makes me glad I'm not getting beat up anymore. But I have a real appreciation for the toll that it takes on these guys' bodies. They're fighting. Don't forget they're fighting in 80 to 100 pounds of armor on top of their bodies. So when you get knocked down, it's a real struggle to get back to your feet, and also swinging the weapons that they're using, these historical pieces, they're full scale, full weight, full size. They're blunted, obviously, but getting hit with those things, I really made it a point to go up, win or lose. I try to make it a point to go up to every single guy after and shake their hand and let them know that I really appreciated what it was that they did.
So the winner of Night Fight also wins a championship title, in addition to $10,000 and a spot in the season finale for a chance to become the first ever Night Fight champion. So where does something like this rank among matches with high stakes that you've had over the course of your career? With so much on the line, kind of reminds a lot of like a WrestleMania main event or something kind of along those lines for you.
Yeah, you think about it, this is the WrestleMania for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is the biggest platform they've ever been on. And to be the last night standing and be recognized as a Night Fight tournament champion, then that's huge. To be the first ever of anything is big, especially with like I said, sort of an underground sport that's getting this kind of spotlight to show the world what it is they do, and to be the first ever recognized. It's huge. I think that's really what every single competitor going into this wanted, and you'll see it run its course throughout the season.
Between hosting Night Fight, you've had the Edge and Christian show going now on the network. I know you guys filmed that a little earlier on in 2018. You've had that going on the WWE network for a few weeks now, in addition to the podcast that you and Adam run. How have you been able to juggle everything in your time off from wrestling in the last couple of years?
Yeah, don't forget father. That's like the most. That's like the busiest. Chasing my 5-year-old around. It's a good balance, because I'm busy. But I get to be home a lot more than what I had been previously. With WWE, I'm on the road, 250 or more days a year. So it's hard, especially when you have a child at home. But this one, I'm gone for chunks, but I'm home for chunks as well. And I'd rather be busy than not busy, you know. And that was one thing when my wrestling career came to an end. I really wanted to. It was kind of like, what's the next challenge? You know, I'm still young. There's still things that I want to accomplish, and I want to kind of tackle things that like acting, like hosting, you know, like writing and producing the Edge and Christian show, doing the podcast, all these things that you know, with wrestling, you know, I became, and not toot my own horn, but it became second nature. I mean, I wrestled at the very highest level for a long time, and the challenge is to, with all these other things, to kind of do the same thing. You know, work with people that are better than me, learn from them, and, you know, the challenge is to get better, to be, you know, to be at the top of the game in these other areas.
Speaking of the Edge and Christian show, what have your thoughts been on the second season as it's been unrolling on the network so far? The kayfabe episode specifically was an absolute hit. I love that one. Every episode's an entertaining one, but what have your thoughts been overall on the second season of the show so far?
Yeah, I'm really, you know, I'm super happy with it. I think we all are. You know, the first season was great as well. I think we kind of hit our stride in the second half of the first season. Mm-hmm. We didn't really know what the show was when it started out. You know, we were still trying to find our way, and a show like this has never been done before. If you think about it, you know, I view it as a variety show with a wrestling theme, and like I said, it was a big thing to tackle because we didn't know exactly what it was, and we you know, switched some writers around. We switched a few things around midway through the first season, and we're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. And I think that once we got that momentum, and then when the first season ended, you know, the first season we were writing in blocks, and then we were shooting in blocks. But we decided to write the entire season out beforehand, before we even started any production or anything, and I think that helped us tremendously, especially knowing what the show was. So that made the process smoother, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't be happier with it. And the feedback, people just seem to love the show, and they're entertained by it. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, writing something that people will like and will be entertained by. And not only that, the superstars that come on and do cameos on the show have a blast as well. And they get on there, and you know, there's not that, there isn't the pressure of performing like on a live Raw or a pay-per-view or a takeover or any of those things. You know, they kind of let their hair down a little bit. Ad-lib, kind of make what we're giving them their own. We give them all the creative liberty to do that. So everybody had fun. That was what it was all about for us, is having fun. And if you're having fun, I think that's going to come across to the viewer as well. And that's just what we try to do. But I couldn't be happier with the way the second season has gone and been received. And again, at the end of the day, it's all about whether the viewer, the fans are entertained. And thankfully they are.
And you mentioned the guest stars. I think we got a count of 3 Tommy Dreamer appearances on the latest episode last week, so can't complain about more Tommy Dreamer on the Edge and Christian show. But as we wind down here, two final questions for you. Your last formal appearance was at Raw 25 last January. Have you had any thoughts about being more involved with the company on in an on-air capacity, at some point down the road? And what are the biggest differences between the live atmosphere at Raw and being a part of the set for Night Fight?
Yeah, well, obviously the differences are it's live. You know, it's 100% live with Raw, and you're talking about being in front of you know 19 to 20,000 people in the arena, and it's just a different atmosphere. And you know, with Night Fight, we had a live audience there. Obviously, the show's not live; it's not aired live, but I mean it's more of an intimate, like Fight Club type feel to it. You know, a little grittier, a little more underground, and it had that kind of that cool vibe to it. And I think those were the differences. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's coming up here. We've been so busy with these other things. You know, I never close the door on anything. You know, we'll see what happens. Obviously, I still have a great working relationship with WWE as far as that goes. Yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know.
And finally, what about Night Fight? Are you most excited for fans to see upon its premiere next week?
I'm just excited for them to see this show. I mean, it blows my mind, even when I just see the clips. Just the act, like I said, the all-out action, the brutality, and the beauty of it. You know, the skill that these knights possess. You know, with these with historical implements that they have, the armor. It's funny too. You have all the same with WWE. You have all different sizes of competitors. You have some giant men, some guys that are like 6'6", 6'7", then you have some smaller guys that are under 6 feet that are faster. And just seeing how they use their different body types and the skills they have to their advantage, and also the different weapon selections that they have, because of with some of these bigger, heavier weapons, smaller guys can't use those as well. So they'll opt for something that's a little smaller, a little more versatile, and they can use their quickness to their advantage. So I'm just excited that this is finally going to be on the air, and I really think people are going to be blown away by the action. And the drama of it all. There's so much drama as well throughout the season. The personalities of these guys. I just really think that people are going to enjoy the show, and I can't wait for everyone to see it.
Well, very much looking forward to it. Going to be great. Night Fight does premiere on the History Channel next Wednesday, January 23rd, immediately following Vikings on the History Channel. Jay, appreciate your time. Big fan. Thanks a lot, and I'll catch you down the road.
Graham, appreciate it. Have a good one.